Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's your rising? What are your big 3?
Yeah, so I'm a Libra rising, I'm an Aries sun sign, and I'm a Capricorn moon.
Okay, so I am an Aries rising, Gemini sun, Leo moon.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
married to a Libra rising. Hey, we're both supposed to have some really good shit happen soon. So
Sounds good to me. Sounds
I'm
good to
ready.
me.
I'm ready. I'm ready. And what was it? Jupiter just turned direct like last night today. Listen, I would need to look at my aspects again. I'm like, is do I have a harsh Jupiter aspect? Because Jupiter transits for me have not been beautiful. Like
Yeah,
Gemini, I just gained a fuck ton of weight. And then once it moved into Cancer, which is my 4th house, I was
okay.
scared because of what it did in 3rd house. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but I was like, God, yeah, well, you expanded me all right. And then 4th house was really up and down, and then when it went retrograde, we lost my son, so now it's direct, and I'm like, "I'm so scared.
Oh,
Please be kind to me and send me money."
oh my gosh. Where is Jupiter right now for you?
4th house,
4th
Cancer.
house. Okay. Oh,
Yep.
okay. Yeah. That's a journey. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and there's been so many rough transits, and if you're an Aries sun, then you've had your own shit because Aries is full of shit right now. But I will say this, when Saturn and Neptune moved, I did get more energy and like cuz I was sleeping all the time and now I'm getting more structure, more routine. So there's all that. So that's good.
Yeah.
So I've been having to train myself not to be afraid of this damn Jupiter transit because
Well, yeah.
it just hasn't been
Yeah.
good for me. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, luck and expansion. It expands all right. Expands some shit."
Yeah.
God.
My gosh. Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it is
That's
really
tough.
nice to meet you. Audience, for your benefit, I'll let you know that I had no clue who I was recording with until I popped on for a host of reasons. And Cassandra's being very sweet to me and understanding that we're just going to be, people who talk a lot. So, tell me what's your story, Cassandra? What's up with
Okay.
you?
Yeah. I have a very interesting, weird story. So I was basically raised in a very high control, fundamentalist religious upbringing.
Mm,
Very abusive, very kind of just I'm gonna stay in my lane, check all the boxes that people say I should be doing and hope that makes everybody happy. It didn't. But I kind of lived most of my life that way. It wasn't until I was 41 years old that I had a spontaneous spiritual awakening. Enough, in a solar eclipse in Gemini.
what year was that? I'm curious.
It was June 9th, so the day right before the eclipse of 2021. So,
Okay.
yeah, not that long
Wow.
ago. And so it was like overnight, I went from everything I was to kind of all of a sudden feeling like I had this sudden awareness, understanding that unfolded. By the next day, like my spouse at the time, my coworkers were like, I don't know who this is or what, but you are not the same person at all. And so it kind of just continued from there. And I was very reluctant at first. It was exciting, but I was kind of like that person that's like, this is crazy. I'm actually very logical, which people find interesting considering I'm a trance channeler, which is totally not very logical at all
Yeah.
and very, very out there. But I am very logical, and so it was a I'd say slow process to get me to where I am now, but when you consider the scheme of things, it was fairly quick. So
Yeah.
I went from tight religious belief, and we didn't even believe in dinosaurs. Like, we were told that that's like a ploy of the devil to
Oh my
confuse the
god,
work of
yes.
God to
Yes,
where I am
yes.
now. So, yeah.
What state did you grow up in?
So, I'm in Florida,
Okay.
and so it wasn't like anything crazy like the Bible Belt or anything, but my
Yeah,
m
because 'cause I'm in Oklahoma.
yeah, right. But yeah, no, it was like a fundamentalist evangelical, Assemblies of God Pentecostal. Like my mom decided to call herself an apostle.
Did they
And
speak in tongues?
oh yes,
Yes.
yes.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Did
Yes.
you ever, like, pretend to?
I didn't pretend to know. I will say, oh gosh, this is where I've come with a lot of those beliefs. And because like I said, it was a spontaneous awakening. I was not the likely candidate for any of this stuff.
Right,
So so there's been a lot of like processing, and what I've come to feel is like what's interesting is if it's prophesying, slain in the spirit, speaking in tongues, all of that in the church, it's okay. But if we look on the flip side spiritually, like, okay, slain in the spirit, that's energy work, that's Reiki.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, prophesying, that's just intuitive gifts of, whether it be clairaudient or clairvoyant,
right,
whatever,
right,
channeling, being a channel to God's source universe, speaking in tongues, light language,
right,
angelic codes. So it's interesting because obviously in religion, it seems like we want to separate everything. This is okay, this isn't. But really, at the end of the day, in my experience, it's the same thing.
right, absolutely. Okay, so let me ask you this, because I would call what I experienced a spontaneous awakening as well. By the way, my daughter's birthday is June 9th. Yeah,
Oh,
she was born in 2014, but yeah, when you said that
aw,
date, I
but
was like,
still,
"Oh,
it's a
wow."
special day for me.
So, what did your awakening look like? Like, what was that? Because I remember, and also, okay, wait, before I ask you that, did you go straight from, were you still deep in the religion when this happened? Holy
Yes,
shit.
I was
Okay.
I was so I actually, for more content, I've been disowned by my parents, not because of my awakening, actually before it, but I moved out when I was 18 years old, um, because there was a tragic event where my grandfather killed himself, and my mom said that it was because he wasn't on fire for God enough, so the devil took his life. And that kinda was like a last straw for me.
Yeah.
So at
We
18,
reached a breaking point then.
yeah, I'm like, "Okay, nothing I'm going to ever do, no matter how many boxes I
Yeah.
check, it's not gonna cut it." So after I graduated, I moved out at 18, but I lived very much I did still wanna go to church, and I kind of was, like, back and forth. Then it kinda was like I do Bible studies, but I lived with that guilt, like, in that
Oh, yeah.
feeling of I'm not doing enough. I mean, very serious, like, post-traumatic stress over, like, rapture, like, waking up and for real.
You already know. We have been having major conversations about this for very obvious reasons, but did you read the damn Left Behind series?
It's force-fed. We will watch the movie where it's like, "Off with your head." Like,
Yeah,
"You
well, I
do
was a
this?"
grown up and chose to read the shit, and I was deep in it. I was deep. I was like, yeah, because being raised in a Southern Baptist area of
Yeah.
the country, rapture was
Oh,
really
yeah.
spoken on, and so,
It's like the
yes,
Bible
like,
is Revelations. Like
yeah. When hearing now, like, that didn't even come along until whatever, which you couldn't have told me that then,
Right.
but I
Yeah.
like, I'm like, "You don't understand that, like, I have read the book of Revelation so many times in my life because that's who I am as a person. If I am scared of something, I will immerse myself in it because I wanted to understand something that was gonna make me feel less afraid or give me
Yeah.
assurance that I was not gonna be left
Yeah.
behind for the tribulation. Damn
Feel
it.
you.
I was so scared. Okay, sorry.
No, I love it. I love the honesty. You get it. So yeah, you
Yes,
get it.
the
It's like
trauma
a
is
it's
so
like
real.
yes, like that stuff stays with you and you don't realize the impact until you come out of it. Like after my awakening, I realized one of the things that stuck with me is my mom cuz she was very big into deliverance. Like we grew up with like people screaming and crawling on the floor while we were trying to sleep at night. And one of the things that stuck along with the rapture was my mom said you can never look into your eyes when you look in the mirror because the eyes are the window to the soul. And if I did, I'd open myself up to demonic possession. And I didn't realize that I didn't look myself in the mirror until I had my awakening and spiritual people talked about mirror work and loving yourself. And I'm like, oh, I don't even look at myself.
You're like, "What?" Oh my gosh, that's next level shit. That is wow.
So yeah.
To be afraid of your own reflection in essence,
Yeah, yeah,
that's deep
yeah.
trauma.
It
Well, and for me, I would say just the idea of original sin has
mhm.
been so traumatic for me. I'm
Yes.
still every day unchaining myself from the belief that I am either being rewarded or being punished. Not that I'm
Yes.
co-creating my reality, but that some
Yes.
force is in
Mm,
charge. Like, I'm really leaning into I was just having this conversation before I jumped on here. I'm even leaning back a little bit from, spiritual, like, teachings for
mhm.
now because I'm really leaning into the fact that, like, I don't need a guru, I don't need whatever, I need community for sure,
Yes.
and I need these conversations, but
Mhm.
I need to lean in on me, and
Yeah.
I am the magic, I'm the creator,
Yes.
like, I have
Yes.
everything I need, and
Yes.
so for a while I was oh gosh, doing the same thing with astrology that I did in Revelation, and the same
Mm,
thing with gurus that I did in Revelation, just trying to get as much information to feel a sense of control. And now
yeah.
every day I feel that power really integrating just a little bit more where I'm like, if I never did listen to another person trying to teach me, I would still
Mm,
be fine. I'd still get all the things I'm supposed to get from this lifetime because 'cause I'm that committed to myself and
yes.
this experience, but I don't have to if I don't want to. So I'm kinda like moderating how much of that I take in.
I that those are such wise words because that's the thing is it's exciting, especially after having, like, a spontaneous awakening. It is exciting at first to be like, you got the crystals, and you got the
Oh,
incense,
all of
and you
it.
got the
Yeah.
smudging of this, and, this energy of that. But at
Doing
the
specific rituals around the
yes,
moon. Yes.
yes, exactly.
Yes.
But at the end of the day there's a balance because there's a tipping point in that to where it becomes, to your point, like you use your example of revelations. For me, it would be like the religion. Now I'm trying to check a new set of boxes to feel like I'm worthy, that I'm
You're good
okay.
enough. Yeah.
Right, and when you do that, then you start feeling, "Well, if I didn't do this practice, I'm not good." And all of the it's almost like the storylines I feel like we're here to experience in the soul. It doesn't really matter what label we attach or theme or it's the same stories that in some way will invite us to kind of move through it. And I love your point that it's what you're saying is essentially coming back to understanding the God within self, that you
Mhm.
are that sovereign energy, that you are co creating, in your experiences and in your reality. I was cooking I wanna share this one thing. I was cooking dinner, recently, and I'll be honest, I think the world is going through a lot of changes right now, and a lot of systems are crumbling, and it is as a result, a lot of people are being put in very interesting positions to see where their shadows are.
Yes.
And I was in a particular financially straining situation and looking at how I spend my energy and how I value myself while I was in the kitchen. And my guide said to me, okay, what if everything people are talking about, whether whatever it is in the spiritual community, some people say the earth is splitting, some people really feel ascension topics, um new human, there's all sorts of language trying to define what we're going through. What if that actually happens? And what if we are evolving? And what if we are shifting? And what if what we experience now as spiritual is becomes the norm? Because that's one thing that has come up in my trance channeling is what is seems unusual now will become actually more of the norm, and what is the norm now will be more of the outskirts, meaning
Mhm.
that will shift enough that that will be common. Then what do you do with spirituality? Then what do you do with these ideals of I'm here to save the world, I'm here to be this person, I'm here to this, and I'm here to that? They were like, "Well, then what?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Holy," and it put me in check because we're not, in my opinion, this is my belief, we're not here to disappear. We're not here to, if ascend. I personally am not someone that believes in an absolute ascension. I feel like we're here to understand the power of the self, the godlike essence of self, and to live the human experience. And
Yeah.
if that wasn't the case, we probably wouldn't have incarnated. So it's not all spirituality and it's not all forgetting who we are, but it's coming together. And I think what you shared was a beautiful example.
Thank you. That is an excellent question to have been posed to you, and I can see where that would have been a gut punch because I felt my nervous system react to you saying it. But what I find the most interesting, and what a well-timed conversation, because this is kind of a journey I've been on, is at first, well, back when I believed that it was, the God I grew up believing in talking to me when I was at like 4 and 14, telling me the pain I felt would
Yeah.
be used as my purpose. I believed that was it. Like, I had to
Yeah.
suffer in order to give light to the world. And
Yeah.
then as I've gone through, evolution through my spirituality, it started with, okay, I go through this, I heal, I share. And then it was like, okay. And then the next step was like, no, 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 no. Like, yeah, that might be like my like human side mission, but like I think we are all here to go through shit and figure out how to love ourselves anyway. And then share as much love, light, and joy as humanly possible while teaching these certain things, or whatever your little personal mission is. And I think we have to have some sense of mission, and of course as humans we're going to assign meaning to everything, and I'm so good at that. But I really, I think I've worked so hard to anchor into this human experience while being tethered to my highest self. That's kind of the visualization that I do when I really want to center, is
Yeah.
visualizing rooting into humanity and tethered into my highest self. And I feel that sacral force just right
Mhm.
there whenever I do that. And so I do think that me teaching people some level of spirituality, I think I'm also gifted at delivering it to the person's comfort level, but also how to rid yourself of all the things that the world told you to be so that you can come home to
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
and become a balance of both of those. Like, yeah, I'll lean way into the woo because I like it, but you don't have to. You don't have
Yeah,
to. If
right,
you
right.
can understand these concepts on a very basic level and just understand it's more than what you think you are, and you have so much more control than you think you do, and also suffering's a choice, and you don't have to suffer anymore. And
Yeah,
I understand there was a time when if someone had said that to me, it would have triggered
yeah,
me and I would have cussed at them. But, like, I'm saying there's information to help you,
yes,
and that's all you need to do is be willing to listen. And
yeah,
so, yeah, I think that's amazing that you really are kinda, like, going through the answer to that for what yourself is,
yeah,
and, how do I be home in
yeah,
me no
yes.
matter what?
Right, exactly. That it's not one particular thing that has more weight that defines me. I am all the different things. I'm
Yes.
crazy cat lady and I trance channel galactic beings.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I love that. Okay, so back to my original question. What
Okay.
did awakening look like for you?
Yeah. Okay. So from what I've heard people share, a lot of times, like there's some sort of catastrophic event or death that kind of brings you there. I would say for me, because I've been asked this question a few times, and I think the only thing really I can label is at the time I was very much consumed with the work I was doing because it was kind of my distraction of everything else in the my life that I didn't want to deal with. So there was a circumstance where it was something very minuscule that happened. Like it was literally a client had a bad like like a bad review or a bad comment. And I had been 7 plus years, and to put it into context, I was in the wedding industry and I'm a floral designer. So it was like 7 plus years of happy clients exceeding expectation. And this one little moment embarrassingly
Broke
calls
you.
me it broke me. It was
Yeah,
like,
no,
"I'm
I
not
get that.
doing this. What am I doing with my life? This is all for no" I mean, total toddler moment. And which shows the imbalance, right?
Yeah,
Because it's like all of a sudden, I didn't have that sense of grounded self and my own gifts, ability. Otherwise, it wouldn't have caused such a tailspin. So I ended up in that moment opening myself up to the idea of going and getting an astrology, not astrology, going to a psychic reading. Well, on the way there, I was so determined. It was an hour and a half away from my house.
wow.
And I had never listened to a podcast ever. Okay. I downloaded the app and something came up about astrology and it was kind of like, okay, sure, whatever. And so I put it in. I didn't know anything about astrology. I put it in and it was these two like college girls, which it was entertaining how they were presenting it. But I was listening to it and I was like, huh, that's interesting. Well, it was all of a sudden this unfolding of like, language or things coming. It's like, well, this is this and this is this and this is this and it's like all of these dots were just like ping 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 ping. By the time I got to the psychic reading, I did all the talking. I was like, well, blah 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 blah, and she was like, yes, 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 to everything. And by the end of that night, there was almost a frustration, I would say at first, because I felt like I understood, like the veil was lifted of my life. And while that's beautiful at first, then it kind of pisses you off a little bit
Yeah.
because there's that natural human instinct to be like, why didn't I catch this sooner? Why didn't I
Yes.
realize this? Because now all of a sudden you're thinking about, that kid in third grade that said that thing. And, it's like every
Well,
little
and just the
thing.
remorse of the years, I'm gonna
Yes.
use in air quotes if you're not watching on YouTube, did
Yes. Yeah.
on pain that
Yeah.
it was so it seems so unnecessary when you become conscious,
Yes.
but when you're conscious, you also know it was so necessary to
Right.
get you here. Like, we all have to have that
Yeah.
moment, but damn it, yes, there was a time whenever I mean, I have really good ability to self-soothe now, so, like, I do this probably daily still, but if you did know that, what would you have done?
Yeah.
Because you got here because that version of you didn't understand something and they did this tool,
Yeah.
but now you did. I have to walk myself through that every day
Yeah.
because it's always like, why? But my new question is like, why the hell did I sign up for this? Like, what did I want? Is it my last life? Like, why am I so determined to get it all in this lifetime?
Yeah.
Why?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm curious, your natal astrology chart, does it tend to like hug an area or is it all over? Do you know?
Tends to hug,
Okay.
like, m most of my stuff is 3rd through 7th house,
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah.
'cause so I told you Gemini Sun, but I'm also a Gemini Venus.
Okay.
I'm a Cancer Mercury.
Okay.
I'm a, Leo Moon. I'm a, I have Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars in Virgo.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah, yep, yep,
I have a
and then
Saturn Virgo too. Yeah.
oh, are you?
Yeah.
Help! And then I have Uranus in my 8th house, Scorpio. Mm,
Ooh,
yep,
yeah. That's a fun one too. Oh,
I have Neptune in Sag, 9th house. My 7th house is pretty full too. I have Lilith there and I have something else. I don't remember what else I have there, but like yeah. So really to ninth, but so it's that,
yeah,
bottom
that
half of
side.
the chart or
Gotcha.
whatever.
Yeah.
I was born at 2:48 a.m.
Well, just from some of your placements, I can tell you were an ambitious soul.
I know. I know. And I don't like that right now. But honestly, I mean this so wholeheartedly. It's funny to me though, but like since we lost my son, I have like really doubled down on like, all right, well, at least it's going to be worth it. Like
Yeah.
I'm going to do what I said I was going to do. Like if I'm not
Wow.
going to give up, which I'm not, I'm
Yeah.
doing whatever the hell committed to when I came to this earth. And so all I think about whenever I'm struggling is my, like, little spirit team and my
Yeah.
son and whatever whenever I get there and they're like, "You did it. You did
Yeah.
it." Because I don't know why the hell I did this to myself, but by God, I'm getting there, and I do feel like all the time, like, "You're doing it. You're
Yeah.
doing it. Like, this
Yeah.
is exactly what you signed up for. You're getting through the hard shit. You're gonna be fine." But
Yeah. Yeah.
why?
Yeah. Oh. Well, I mean, I wanna say that you're a picture of resilience, although I know sometimes people get to a point where they're like, "I don't want to be resilient anymore." But
Well, that was
it's
part of my awakening actually, was like, I think the word that really triggered me for a long time during that healing phase was strong because of the weight, and the expectations of that word
yeah,
for me and
right.
what I felt like a strong woman is supposed to look like, and so it got to where I was like, "But I don't wanna be strong anymore, I wanna
Yeah,
be held, I wanna be
yeah,
nurtured, I want someone to see that I'm fucking drowning."
yeah.
Because mine came in a period of, an extreme mental health crisis.
Mm.
I was in my 8th perfection year of Scorpio.
Okay, yeah,
Yep, and it almost took me out, it did. Now that I understand what I was going through, I'm like, "No wonder, but it almost got me, it sure
yeah,
did." And so, like, at the tail end of that mental health crisis, it was like I just started asking different questions, like, what is and actually astrology helped me because
mhm,
someone said just casually, well, because I was into astrology, but I didn't like know that much. And
Yeah.
someone said, well, my friend says that it's more of like a destiny or a blueprint and not just like
Right.
personality traits, you
Yes.
know? And
Yes.
I was like, oh, I don't know why my spirit latched onto that. And I was
Yeah.
like, blueprint. Okay. So I started understanding my chart. I'm still, like, not that I love to learn, but it doesn't compute the way it does for other people. So it's like I have an innate understanding of it, but I could never explain it to someone, you know?
Yeah.
And so I looked and I was like, "Oh my god, this actually does make so much sense for me." And so that really helped. So then I started to get into, like, new moon and full moon rituals, and it was during an identity audit of, like, a new moon or a full moon that I started to really see, and that was the really big awakening. It was the first
Yeah.
epiphany that I had
Oh.
about and mine was really about, like, why you trying to be this perfect Zen person?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you know, like you're already all the things you're trying to become. You just need to unbecome a couple things. And you're great how you are. Like, yeah, you need to heal some shit, but like you're not broken.
Yeah.
And that was it. And from then on, I mean, I was getting those complete paradigm shifts where you are not the same person
Yeah.
1 minute to the next, like 3 or 4 times a day, to the
Wow.
point
Yeah.
that sorry, audience, I know you hear me say this, but, like, my son that we lost was, like, 16 at the time, and he was pretty spiritual, and he for some reason, intuitively, I felt really safe asking him, but I was like, "I have a schizophrenic brother," and I was like, "Do you think I'm schizophrenic? Like, I feel like
Yeah.
different, and I don't understand what's happening." And he was like, "No, I don't think you're schizophrenic. I think it's a new belief system, and you're taking in a lot of new information at one time, and you're processing, and you're gonna be fine." And I was
Yeah.
like, "I don't know why I needed you to say that, but I really did. I really did." And
Oh.
so it's still and since I've lost him, it's been the same thing. Because, you know, grief really just highlights what was already there, and if you are determined to grieve healthy and like so we lost him to an overdose and I lost my dad to an overdose when I was 15. And interestingly, Saturn was in Pisces both times. But
Mm.
you know, I do see this story arc of the that losing my dad was the beginning of pushing people away and lying to myself to confirm a narrative that I didn't have anyone to feel safe, you know?
Yeah.
And how this experience, I'm seeing that differently and seeing how I place barriers between me and other people, and I just really wanna do it differently this time. So if you commit to that, you have to look at your shadows, and
Yeah.
so I have
Right.
learned so much about myself in the last almost 3 months because it's like that
Yeah. Yeah.
paradigm like, I'm not the same person I was
Right.
3 months ago, but it's not really because I lost him. It's because of the things it highlighted
Yeah.
and, you know, like, I'm making a point of clarity about not because I lost him, because I feel like the reason grief changes you so much is the stuff that it forces you to confront, but,
Yeah.
like, I had worked so hard on myself for the last year and a half that when I lost him, I was like, "Man, I don't wanna go backwards." Like, I've finally gotten to a place where, like, I feel so in charge of my life, and I wanna continue this work. I don't wanna drown in this pain. And so much of who I am didn't really change until I was confronting, like, narratives and stuff, but it wasn't just because I lost him. Losing him helped me to do that, but, like, it's been a very interesting grief process to be someone as healed and spiritual and has really good tools, you know, it's
Yeah.
been interesting for sure. It doesn't make it less painful, but it does fuel me in a different way than it would have before, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I completely understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Wow, man. Okay, so you had your awakening, and then you said that everybody was not really appreciating the new you. Felt that too. So what happened next?
Well, uh, pretty not to say this is everybody's experience, but I would say for me, I did lose every relationship ultimately in the end, including I was married for, over 21 years, and that one would be fairly recent. It's interesting, I just wanna say, I found it interesting you sharing your piece about remaining open because a lot of people assume things when you're in a long-term marriage of what that looks like. And really, honestly, the only reason why it lasted that long is we were great parents, but we were very separate. And I realized I wasn't open and I was pretty closed off and very independent. So we didn't do
Yeah.
things together. We didn't, there was a lot of that. And that's irrelevant. It was what it was. But it was learning to open up. And, ooh, that's not always
You're
easy
right.
when you realize you were closed off for so long. So in my astrology chart, no matter what I do, I can't escape relationships. So my sun in Aries is in the seventh house on my descendant, and Pluto is on my ascendant in the first house of Libra. And so it's
Yeah, Pluto's in my 7th house. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so it's like and my Chiron is also in the 7th house. Like I'm not escaping the relationship thing. So it's
Same.
learning to not close off. So because of that, looking at the relationships I had, they served very differently than who I was becoming. And that's okay. There's no harsh or resentment towards any of that. But after my awakening, yes, over the years, there was the typical, spells where it's like at first you're really excited and then all your gifts come on and then you think this is awesome, but then you think maybe I'm crazy. And you think like,
Yeah.
how does this work in the world? But you want to talk about it all the time. And then you have dark nights of the soul and you're dealing with the trauma and people are falling away. It was the
Yes. It's
usual.
so lonely.
But for me, what was interesting is the last piece, the last domino piece, well, second to last, aside from opening myself to relationship and opening my heart. But next to that was also coming to terms with where my beliefs were related to galactic topics. And so I ended up in the end, I was spoon fed from the beginning, people saying things intuitively, and I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, okay, okay, no, I'm shut off to this ideal," to finally, I end up getting certified as a galactic astrologer, and so that's kind of where my love for astrology, took a new level, but
Yeah.
it was just kind of this unfolding to get me to where I am now, so yeah.
Yeah. Was it hard for you to build community in like, okay, okay.
Still?
Do you have a community? Do you feel part of a community right now?
I would say I'm learning what that is. Because also part of having myself be open in a new relationship reflected to me that I am also on the spectrum, which my son who's 18 also has Asperger's. So
Mm.
there are a lot of nuances with that. I realize that I don't pick up on and I don't get. So, yes, I would say that is a work in progress, but what I've realized is I really desire connection and community, and I think that that's pretty essential for where we're going collectively.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, and I think, so I'm in the season right now where I'm taking myself less seriously in that trying to release what I was talking to, that fear that I'm
Yes.
either being punished or rewarded, and that thoughts don't have to be like, because you take on all this information, like your thoughts are your reality. I went through a thing where I worried that because I think intuitively I knew this was the inevitable outcome with my son, like a long time ago. And but because I worried so much, I was like, "Oh god, did I cause this?" Things like that.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so I'm really just releasing expectations of myself, and
Yeah.
one of the things as a Leo moon that I really had to come home to, and this has just been in the last 3 months, is finally just giving myself permission to be that needy, clingy person that I am. I don't have to it doesn't look the way it did
Yeah.
unhealed,
Right.
because nobody could show up for me, nobody loved me the way I love them, real
Yeah.
typical Leo moon shit. But now I have to understand, like, in this human experience, I'm a person who does kind of wear my heart on my sleeve. That doesn't look the way that it does for a little, like, Pisces, for me, but, but I do.
Yeah.
And so owning that and going, "It hurt your feelings. You're allowed for it to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
What's the next step?" Instead of pausing to resist the notion that it
Oh.
hurt my feelings for days, weeks, not continually, because 'cause I've learned to stop overthinking, but it would come back up and I'd be like, why should that not have hurt my feelings? And I'm so over asking myself that stuff. And so now I'm like, it hurts your feelings.
Oh, man.
And then the number 2 thing is you really crave connection and community. And that's okay. That is okay. Doesn't make you codependent. It doesn't make you enmeshed.
Right.
Doesn't make you needy. Doesn't make you clingy. Like, we joined a grief group, and I've been going with my son, not to like I chose to go with him to support him because I knew he wouldn't go without me instead of going to like the child loss group. I'm so glad. Listen, I'm light years ahead of these people in terms of but I'm there to talk and to be in a room with people.
Yeah.
I'm constantly fighting to not give advice and to not be the expert and just be a participant, and like I'm literally like, this is so good. I'm out of the house. I'm talking to people. I share. I mean, I make sure I don't overtake the conversation and stuff. I work on that. But I'm like, I'm around people, and the synergy of that is so
Yes.
beautiful. I mean, I love this, but I only do this like an hour a day. And then
Yeah.
I'm a therapist, so that's cool, but, like, I am craving connection,
Yeah.
and I'm finally okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, I've spent the last year and a half really trying to become okay with how isolated and in solitude that I was, and it was needed, it really was, especially for nervous system repair. I mean, I
Yes.
had to really limit my interactions outside of my home because people are crazy, and they all reflected a prior version of me, and it was painful, and it
Mhm.
wasn't working,
Yeah.
And now it's like, hello, people. I just want to be around you without the expectations that I used to have for people before.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really okay with people just showing up. Now, listen, I got 2 fire signs in my big 3. People irritate me. And so, I'm working on that too, but just community. Like,
Yes.
they don't have to.
Mm.
I mean, I can't be in community with people who are, like, super religious because, A, it's traumatic for me, it still
Yeah.
triggers me to death,
Right.
but also we're just not really compatible. But,
Yeah.
like, anytime, like, the second you started telling your story, I'm like, "Oh my god, new best friend. She's gonna be my friend." Because I'm just, like, desperate for people who, like, have the same, views as me
Yeah.
and whatever, but you're speaking my
Yeah.
language because, yeah, it is hard. It's
Yeah.
hard to make friends. It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
Especially when you prefer to only have connective conversations.
Right. Yeah.
I can't do small talk anymore, and
Just yeah.
I used to be a master at it. I could be a chameleon and go into any room and be the life of the party. I do not possess those skills, nor do I want them anymore. So, like, I'm just a brick wall if you're coming at me with weather talk. You know what I mean? Like, "No, I'm not gonna talk about the weather with you, honey. You're gonna have to move on to that person over there who looks really bored."
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, there's so many things. And yes, I love it. And you equally are reflecting a lot too for me. And some of the language I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're saying these things." But so two things to tie in what you just shared with the as far as like talking about your moon and also connection. So I can totally relate to what you're saying about the moon. And one of the journeys I'm on is feeling like it's okay to take up space. So, like you say, it's okay to have those expressions. Now, it's funny because my moon is Capricorn. So it's like repress it, be composed, don't be too much, look like you have everything together. But I am very emotional. And I'm very expressive and all of my north node is Leo. Um, eh
Mine too.
aw, yay.
Yeah, good times, right?
Yeah, right. So, but with the moon, it's kind of like I'm learning equally, like you say, to feel like it's okay because what I realize is all that work and effort I'm trying to repress and compose, it's all going to come out eventually in some capacity. So I'm better off to feel the emotion because I think what do they say? Like emotions last like 90 seconds if you allow
Mhm.
them. They might come up again, yes, but it's short-lived essentially. But it's this idea of like I'm not doing any in myself or anybody justice in trying to look like I have it all together. So it's like part of taking up more space is saying I am a messy human. That has been a big journey lately for me is it's okay to be in that linear space. It's okay to be in the
Yeah.
middle. It's okay to not be on the other side and say, I overcame blah, blah, blah with these five,
Right.
simple steps. And it's okay
Yeah.
to come on and say, hey, guess what? I'm still struggling with community. Like I desire, I love it. But no, I haven't mastered it. But what's interesting tying the 2 together is one of the things that came up in something that I channeled was and it was from the Acturians, but the saying they said was this, is they said the most important question a human can ask themselves is how can I be me within the we? And this idea that it's coming to this ascension once again concept that is just of and only of the self, is it accurate? It's in the acceptance of the self and understanding you are a drop in the ocean and that it is also within the we. So it's like, how can we separate from this tribal ideal? Or you have to have all the same opinions as me, or that you have to look this way. How can you accept your individuality, but also be within community because you are here to engage and connect within the whole? And so I've interpreted this experience as and especially with, like, different AI things, which I'm not you know, but
Yeah.
basically, we're craving authenticity and for people to not be completely composed, people comfortable with saying, "Yes, I'm a mess today." I love how our conversation began because you're meeting me as a human and as a spiritual person that knows the things, but you're human and I'm human. And if we all embrace our fullness in that capacity and come as we are, that I think that that's what we're all craving a little bit more with coming back together and not feeling like we're so put together and have it all
Yeah.
figured out because we probably even those that have been through there's still something probably we're learning uh no
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, I had a little hit while you were talking about that I was like, "Oh, I had to recognize this deeper in myself to be able to be accepting of others in whatever their thing is." Because I pictured like just a bunch of, because there's me and I'm real bouncy, like I'm the chaos of most things. Um, and I don't mean that bad. I'm
No,
just
yeah.
I flitter, I get excited. But I am so resistant so much to other people depending on what their thing is. And it's because I've resisted so much of my natural instincts in some ways. And so the more I resist myself, the more resistant I'm going to be to others. And so just that calming, like even just visualizing being like, and you're needy, who cares? Allows me to go, "And they're a little annoying, who cares?"
Yeah.
Like, you know what, like,
Yeah.
it's and again, you're not gonna catch me fraternizing with somebody who, is super deep into religion. It's just not gonna happen at this stage,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna lie and pretend like I'm
Right.
accepting of everyone. I'm not. I'm constantly working on relating to people on the opposite side of the pole in the world right now.
Plus we got that
But
fire, right? Plus we got that
like,
fire. So
so much fire. So much fire, so much. And, honestly, I love that you understand the
Yeah.
fire because that was actually a part of the awakening was I said to myself, Melissa, this because I'd been future self journaling because that was the only thing I knew how to do about nervous system regulation, but I didn't really understand any of it. But I had, I got a very limited information. So I was like, okay, I'll try it. And for years, I was picturing myself becoming this Zen Buddha person, perpetually unbothered. And but I had just learned because I'd been a passive aggressive or passive person my whole life in public, freezer fawning conflict if I'm out of my house and then come home and take it out on everyone that I loved. And so just internalizing so much, I had become a royal bitch at work in a way that I was actually proud of. Like I was saying the shit I
Yeah.
wanted to say
Right.
instead of like internalizing it all and pretending, and I was becoming myself for the first time. And I was like, Melissa, why are you trying to extinguish this fire when you just learned how to hold it?
Yeah.
Like, you're no longer burned by these things. You understand there's a purpose for it, and it's
Right.
not just this thing to be ashamed of. And so that was really so much a part of the direction that I went in was how do I hold this fire without burning others, without burning myself?
Yeah.
And listen, sometimes I get burned, sometimes I still burn other people. It happens. But like I don't want it to go away. It's so much a part of me, and I'm really proud of it and how I hold it. And so I kind of have to understand too that in community, I'm going to come across my little water sign friends who seem to all be the most blunt and like could not say it nicely to save their life because they're going to say it so directly friends, you know what I mean, like that's going to be their thing. And Leo sons are always going to want all the attention, like there's just all the things that you run into. And I have the more compassion I give to myself, the more I am able to do that with others too,
Yeah.
and make them less of an other.
Right. It makes the world more interesting. We all came to be who we are, and we're special spices. And if we were all Zen masters, we probably would be like, that's a boring planet. Definitely not
Right.
incarnating there.
Right, right. I don't know what I would learn there. It seems pretty boring. They're all just standing around the campfire. Like, I don't get it. I love it. Well, man, I've loved having you on. Tell us where we can find you.
Yeah, of course. So my website is just my name, so Cassandra Deanne. You can read about my services there that I have, and then most of my spiritual stuff is on YouTube, also at Cassandra Deanne. So there's a plethora of interesting stuff there, astrology, human design, star seeds,
Oh, I love that.
channeling, all sorts of things. So yeah, those are the best places probably to find me.
Okay, well, and I'll make sure I include all of that in my show notes too. I have loved having you,
I've loved this.
earnestly.
Same.
Good. Good. I'm kind of glad it showed up as a shit show too, where I was like, I don't know who you are, man.
Seeing, like, getting out of that composure and just being like, here I am.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I
It's so
love it.
much fun.
This was the best conversation.
Agreed.
Okay, I'm gonna hit stop if you'll hang out for 1 sec.
Okay.
Thanks for coming to Emotionally Unavailable. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and share. Emotionally Unavailable.